What's up, guys? It's your favorite pirate Pock, and in this episode of the Weekend, we're going to cover the biggest town hall in Star Atlas history. If you didn't get to watch it live, and you don't have the 2 hours it takes to catch up, then you're in the right place. I'm here to break it down for you and catch you up by the time your lunch break's over. They didn't give us answers to every question that the community's had over the last few months, but the answers they did give feel like more than enough to earn them some grace. The amount of real gameplay content we got is insane. And before we get started, I wanted to give a shout out to someone who I've simply come to know as 7R7. They donated this really cool Pierce X4 ship skin to help support the channel. And the awesome thing is that it completes my X4 skin collection. It's almost like they used the power of the blockchain to pick the perfect thing to give. Thank you, 7R7, it's greatly appreciated. And now for the Town Hall recap. And no, we didn't get any Ooster content, but Ooster did have a very strong turnout. So they started with an announcement for those who want to use Star Atlas to have careers in and out of the metaverse. And this is unheard of, but Dan Park, the guy in charge of Star Atlas intellectual property, reaffirmed the fact that we can use Star Atlas IP for whatever projects we can create up to $1 million in gross sales without any royalty. After that, any royalty that would be imposed would be less than 10%. Now there will be a contact form to fill out with the basics of the development project just so the team can make sure that the products are appropriate and represent Star Atlas well. There is also a non-confusion requirement, meaning that we cannot title the product or company to appear in a way that makes our business seem like it is part of Automata. They also promised to release a repository soon that will include all final creative works from Star Atlas. And all of that gives me a lot of confidence in launching my fanfiction series. I'm currently looking into how to animate it and cannot wait to share with all of you. And the new IP policy will roll out in the coming week. They also briefly brought in Matt Sorge, a direct member of the Solana Foundation, and he discussed the idea and ability to integrate player-created worlds and other metaverse projects into a massive ecosystem through collaboration. Just beginning conversations, but with huge potential to expand our galactic metaverse. Matt also talked about how Solana is going to start a more active marketing campaign to help the platforms building on Solana. And for the thing that everyone was waiting on, we finally have a release date for Sage, guys. The Sage movement test will launch this Wednesday, April 26th, a date that is almost a holiday within the community. This launch has been titled Escape Velocity and will include the treasure hunt. They even gave us a loot table for the items we can earn within the movement test and our chances at getting the different tiers of treasure. This loot table represents the entire map and how much of each tier is on the map at any given minute. They even created new CSS hab paints and posters specifically for Escape Velocity, and I can't wait to see how cool they look. I know any that I find will definitely be going into my habitat to help cover up the fact that it is tier 0. There are some really cool things here and some ships that will be really useful in the future, not just that elusive tank ship. Not only will we be able to move across the map, but every 60 seconds we'll have the ability to scan the area we're in to find some loot. In order to play, we have to spawn at least one ship, and we will have to deposit 1,000 Atlas per ship that will be returned to us when we despawn these ships. Now there is no limit to how many ships a player can spawn, but the team has done a whole lot to prevent bots and limit those with multi-wallet accounts. It's awesome that they put the thought into leveling the playing field. If you're in dark matter, this is a call to you to jump into our Discord server to see the preparations we've made to boost your chances of success. And yes, we are recruiting, so feel free to check us out if you're interested. This test release of Sage will be on MainNet, which is where all the production-ready Solana apps really are released. Devnet is more like the team's playground. They're testing a lot of really cool graphic features to give us a really good look at our ships and everything going on in the environment around us. Brad from the economics team also said that they will be reviewing all the data we create in order to integrate marketplace economics and use economic levers appropriately when we're able to start collecting resources. The next upgrade for Sage will be resource extraction, mining, and crafting, and the team has already said that they've been working hard on this, saying that we will have a really good amount of releases throughout the year until we get a viable and incredibly enjoyable version of Sage. Hopefully they have a new release before too long, because I'm not sure how deep this loot pool is going to go. Star Atlas will also be launching a social campaign the week after the launch of Escape Velocity that will have its own unique loot table, and it could be mission-based levels of gameplay, and the team promised to give way more details next week. And it wasn't enough for the team to simply give us Escape Velocity. We also got an insane look into the upcoming UE5 release of the Showroom 2.1. One of the coolest things they've done is integrate the blockchain even further into UE5. They are also integrating the Star Atlas Marketplace into the game that you will be playing in the Epic Games Store. They even made it Ledger compatible. Now honestly guys, that's insane. And not only will you be able to buy and sell ships within the game, but we'll also be able to have the ability to test pilot these ships before we buy them. And that really matters because they are updating the gravitational field of each ship, and X4 will not fly the same or feel the same as the Calico Medtech. They're also updating the dogfighting gameplay to include way more ships and possibly more maps like the one that I showed you in my last video. It also seems that they've updated the train station to be functional and elevated into the upper level of the showroom hangar. The train rails were elevated in order to have the ground racing game loop that will be coming in July. The first version of ground racing will be just like we have in the traditional racing track. It will be single player and against the clock that we can compare amongst other players. The main question is though, will we get this single player gameplay mode earlier than July and multiplayer being released at PlayGG? The answer to that would really help solidify a time frame for the 2.1 release. Wagner also hinted that future releases this year will also give us the ability to finally somewhat customize our ships and progress our character levels. We'll also have the ability to set our default ships prior to entering the showroom. The team is also upgrading the photography mode in the game and looking into creating a career out of capturing content from the game. Players could literally earn Atlas for taking incredible photos, the same incredible photos that the community has been taking for a while now. The videos that were released do have a little glitchiness to them, but seeing the motion blurs on, I believe this is because of the team stress testing the new performance enhancements that they've been working on. That should make it easier for Unreal Engine to work on older PCs as well. I told you, so much gameplay content and we aren't even finished yet. Now they also brought the gameplay engineer, Brad, to discuss all the insane mechanics that they've been working on. They've even added collision damage. So I should probably improve my flying abilities. I don't want to have too many dents on my new Opal jet. The gas system from the Epic Games Store has been integrated into gameplay for future releases. This is the Gameplay Ability System. This allows for a scalable framework for implementing stats and abilities. Ship stats are going to include hull points, shield points, fuel, ammo count, weapon heat, thruster power, and much more. The integration of the abilities section allows for classifying each ability that the ship has, among other things. The team will use this to create no fire zones in certain areas such as specialized spaceports. The stats feature is apparently multiplayer ready, and I hope it's in the next release of dogfighting. They also hinted at another gameplay mode option that we haven't seen yet, but they're really tight-lipped about actually identifying it. Being an engineer, like most engineers, Brad went way overboard while working on turrets. The community has affectionately named this monstrosity the Opal Apocolypse, and if the team made this beast legit, they could easily fund the project for the next decade. I know I would buy as many as I could. Now what do you guys think of it? Let me know in the comments section below. Would you like to see some Mad Max style ships? The next little sneak peek we got was not actually gameplay or specifically anything that we'll see in the near future, but it was good insight into the ability for procedural generation and how fast these outposts and worlds can be generated. I think it's really cool to see the smaller ground ships moving along the landing pads, simulating daily activities required to keep our teams and operations running. The scale of these features and structures will be inspiring to get to experience. I can't wait to see them in all their glory on my planet in the high risk zone. A few features talked about that aren't actual gameplay but heavily affect the game are the DAO and the DAX. Michael Wagner says that they are still on schedule to release proposals to begin the DAO proposal process. We were not given a specific date, but we were told that the first set of proposals will come from the team themselves, and that these proposals will be voted on by players who hold polis in the DAO locker. In one of the coolest experiences of my life, I even locked in an answer on Automata's ability to override the decisions of the players and any complete rejections from the players about these proposals. Michael Wagner said 100% that the team would not interfere with the outcomes and decisions made by the DAO, even though Automata has the ability to lock enough polis to influence any decision they want, as long as it would not potentially violate any laws or rules from real-world governing bodies. Wagner also stated that any completely rejected proposals would be reviewed and revised using input from the community and community leaders that are separate from the team. This voluntary relinquishment of power and publicly recorded statement is one of the things that makes the Star Atlas metaverse such an amazing project. There was no sidestepping this answer. Wagner fully committed to his vision of a decentralized metaverse. The DACs were briefly mentioned, but the mechanics involved are pretty similar to how the DAO functions, and has made it past the design phase and is currently being worked on by the engineers to provide guilds with the ability to register as decentralized autonomous corporations and assign roles and tags for players. This will be a great recruiting tool through the Star Atlas website. This will also provide us with different ways to represent our guilds, including customized banners. One of the last things discussed was the runway and where we're at. The short answer is, we had no answer. But looking into what Wagner said about it was not that there was no more runway. The answer was that the actual runway could not be disclosed. The idea that they have a pathway to success indicates that there is a plan and the team feels confident in it. And with the content and development that I saw today, I am more confident in the success of Star Atlas. Again, I would like to thank 7R7, whoever you are, for helping support the channel. If you like this video and want to support future content on the Star Atlas metaverse, support the channel by sending a donation to pockthepirate.SOL. Any contributions are greatly appreciated and will help me continue to create entertaining and informative content for the Star Atlas community. As always, be alert and stay safe in the galactic seas, and I will catch you in the metaverse. Pock out.